Today we are going to go through the divide and slide method of factoring a trinomial. So just as a refresher, the trinomial is when you have three terms. So if we have 2x squared plus 4x minus 6, right? We have 1, 2, 3 terms, and that is called a trinomial. So we are going to work on factoring, and divide and slide factoring is a method we use when the a value is not 1, it's greater than 1. So our a value is greater than 1. So if we have ax squared plus bx plus c, I suppose those should be plus or minus. We are looking for this a value here to be greater than 1. Then we can use this method. So the steps we will follow are listed here. First, we factor out the GCF, if there is one. 2, we multiply the first and last numbers. 3, we find two numbers that multiply to the product and add to the middle term b. We'll write the two factors as fractions over the term a. Reduce fractions and slide the denominator to the front. So let's walk through the steps for example number 1. So the first thing I'm going to look for is a GCF, which I do not see one. So then I'm going to multiply the first and the last numbers. So 6 times 4 equals to 24. So now I am going to look for, okay, so we have step 1 and step 2 done. Now I'm going to find two numbers that multiply to 24 that add to the middle number. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 24 and add to 11. So let's look at our factors of 24. So we have 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. So I'm looking for the factors that add to 11. So I have 3 and 8. Okay, so we did step 3. So now I'm going to write the two factors as fractions over the a term. Okay, so I have x plus 3 over 6. Right, there's my a term 6, parentheses, times x plus 8 over 6. Again, 6 is my a value for this example. Now we want to reduce our fractions. So x plus 1 over 2 times x plus 4 over 3. Both fractions were able to be reduced. Now I'm going to slide the denominator to the front. So the denominator is this bottom value, right? So we're going to slide those to the front to get our final factor. So 2x plus 1 times 3x plus 4. I'm going to write that over here so it's a little bit easier to see. And that is our factor for this example. All right, let's do the next example. I do think it helps to follow these steps while you're doing these divide and slide factors. Okay, so next example, first I look for a GCF. There is none. So then I'm going to multiply the first and the last values together. So 5 times 12, I'll write that out for you. So we have 5 times 12 equals to 60. So I'm looking for factors of 60, which are going to add to be 17. 3 and 20, 4 and 15, 5 and 12. So we have 5 and 12. Now, the other thing I have to note on this is I have a negative sign and a positive sign. So inside my parentheses, I'm going to have two negatives. So I'm going to have x minus 5 over 5, because 5, the bottom part here is my a value, and x minus 12 over 5. So now I have to reduce my fractions. So I have x minus 1 and x minus 12 over 5, because that does not reduce. So I'm going to take my 5 and I'm going to slide it over. So I have x minus 1 times 5x minus 12 is my factor. Okay, last example here. We are going to multiply our first and our last. So we have 3 times 10 is 30. I'm going to look for factors. Now, okay, let's take a step back here. I have a plus and a minus c. So I am going to have x plus the big number times x minus the small number. Okay, that what we learned previously still comes into play here. So then let's talk factors of 30 that subtract to equal 1. So I have 6 and 5. Subtract to equal 1. So I'm going to do the big number first, x plus 6 over the value, a value 3, times x minus 5 over 3. I'm going to reduce my fractions, so I have x plus 2. And the second does not reduce, so I have x minus 5 over 3. Then we're going to slide over whatever's on the bottom. And I have x plus 2 times 3x minus 5. That is your factor.